Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you the review for the I Ching The Oracle by Benebell Wen. Okay guys, so this is also a very chunky book by Benebell Wen. She has normal or average sized books. But I seem to like her really chunky books. This one, though, is about the I Ching, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Book of Maps since it's such a chunky book. It's actually very uncomfortable to hold it even with two hands. So I'm going to go and switch to the down camera so you guys can see it over here. But here we go. Here we have the I Ching The Oracle. It says that it's a practical guide to the Book of Changes, and I would have to agree with that. Benebell Wen did an exceptional job providing the explanations and the methods on how to use the I Ching, the various methods on how to use the I Ching expertly to the point where every minute detail you can see it inside the book where it's step by step by step, and every step is just a little of what you need to do in order to practice or ritualize your practice with the I Ching. But more on that later, because I actually didn't use the methods that Benebell had in this beautiful book. I will talk about that a little later. I'm getting ahead of myself. But here we have the gorgeous cover, and this is a trigram, and two trigrams make a hexagram, and these are fire for the I Ching. So this red is just very beautiful, and this is an old Chinese, very ancient Chinese panoramic view. It is in the book what the scene is or where it's from. I just don't remember right now, guys. I'm so sorry, but I do want to say that this is, even though it says is the I Ching The Oracle, this is also a history of the I Ching. The gray that you guys see over here, that is the Book of Changes. That is the I Ching as interpreted and translated by Benebell. Now she has an extensive research, but this white part over here, all of this is the history and also an introduction to what the I Ching is and how it was developed, and who were the important people that participated in the creation of the I Ching. And it turns out that like every other divination system, there's a bunch of layers, and a bunch of people participated in its creation, its foundation, its writings. Just a lot of important people just added layers to the I Ching. So that's why this is so long. And I say that it's long, but guys, it was just fascinating to read. I have to admit, she goes into every single one of the important people in the I Ching, and she provides us with charts. She provides us with information on. It's so funny that I got this page, because this is exactly how the I Ching started, with a yin and a yang line. And that's how they created the trigrams, which we see over here. And that's how these trigrams were created into the hexagrams, which we have. As you guys can see, there are various illustrations as well. They're actually only black and white, which is fine. This is a mass market book. Here are the hexagrams. These are all of the hexagrams. They're easily accessible in the books, and I'm sorry, in the beginning of the books, so that when you are in ritual with obtaining a hexagram, there's a whole process. Like I said, you have this to make it easier on yourself to go and look for the hexagram that you created with that ritual. I will have to say that As is Benebell fashion, the book is incredibly well researched, and um, it just warms my heart to absorb the information, especially such historical information on the I Ching. And I think that even though this looks like a very chunky book, and it is a very chunky book, guys, Benebell did her best to distill the information into the vernacular and provide us with enough information for us to learn where the I Ching come from, how we can use it, and where it can go. One of the things that Benebell actually mentions in the book is that she is not the ultimate um, authority on the I Ching. She actually recommends that when we are practicing with the I Ching, that we consult various translations or various books of the I Ching, not only hers, because that'll provide even more information and even more layers to your divination at that point. And I thought that was so humble of her, because usually authors, especially when they're writing nonfiction and they do all of these research, even though they don't say that they're the ultimate, or they wouldn't feel like they're the ultimate authority on what they researched, it's always a very this is how you're supposed to read it, this is what you're supposed to do, and this was not it. There are, like I said, she just very humbly says that acquire a different copy of the I Ching so that you can compare and contrast her translation and her interpretation with somebody else's. And I thought that was amazing. Now, I do that? No. I trust Benebell so much that I didn't do that. And she actually provides um, uh, um, what is it, recommendations on the books that are available and that you can get about the I Ching. She also, because the thing is that she also has various, I assume that she does, various books on the I Ching and of the I Ching. So it's very good that we have someone who is saying, this is my research, this is what I accumulated, and this is what I'm presenting to you. This is my thesis of everything that I absorbed, all of the information that got absorbed for the I Ching. Now, that being said, I'm not gonna go over all of the history of the book, guys, because we will be here forever. But just to let you know, it is there were 4 major people who added to the I Ching, and that is what we're seeing over here in these gray parts. So the gray parts that start over here. There we go. So, should I talk about the ritual next so that we can have a hexagram and I can provide you an example of what I did? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So, the ritual for the I Ching, well, there are various rituals. You can use coins, you can use shells, but I think the most ancient ritual is the one that you use these twigs. I think they're yew branches, the yew tree. I'm not really sure if that's what it is, but I know that you can use bamboo as well. Well, actually, you can use anything, any sticks from that you gather around, I would say. Now, the rituals are quite long. They do take a lot of time, and there's a reason for that. Benebell actually explains that there's a reason for the lengthiness of that ritual and how it focuses you, how it grounds you, and how it is very important for you to go through that so that you're in a good headspace in order to receive that hexagram. And it's not that I don't agree with the practice. Actually, the practice would be even more fulfilling, in my opinion, if that were to happen. But I do have a job, and I do journal only in the mornings, even though it's very early in the morning. I also have other things that I do. I go to the gym. I spend time with my husband. So anything that I can use to reduce the um, the time invested in my journaling, even though it's very important to me, I take, because there's other things that I also want to do, right? And I only have a limited amount of time in my life. But so thankfully, I have the Spirit Keeper's Tarot that Benebell did. I'm gonna put the book over here because I'm gonna show you what I did instead of the ritual that it is better to do. So here's the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. And as you guys will notice, let me just, well, you know what? No, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'll bring this card up. As you guys notice, we have a trigram over here on the this corner of the card, which is the, what is it? The left corner, guys, at the bottom, on the bottom. And we have this hexagram over here. And we have, and this is for most of the cards. There are only 8 cards in the whole deck that don't have a hexagram. And there's a reason for that. Benebell actually does explain that in the Book of Maps, not in the I Ching Oracle. Or maybe she does. I don't remember. But as you guys can see, these are 2 trigrams, and 2 trigrams make 1 hexagram, which is what you will need for the I Ching. So what I did when I was working with the Spirit Keeper's Tarot and when I started working with the I Ching was that, well, I mean, I shuffled my deck. And I'm not going to go into any interpretations today, guys, because this is a review for the I Ching Oracle book. So I just want 2 cards, but I wanted to show you oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So there's the 2 cards. Okay, so, okay. So here we have the Necromancer, and this is one of the cards that don't have a trigram. Now, when you get this symbol over here, you're supposed to double this this trigram. So we would get 2 heavens. Wait, is this heaven or is this earth? Heavens. So we will get, so our hexagram in this case would be 2 heavens, but I'm going to choose another card so that because that rarely happens. So let's say that I got the Keeper as the first card, and then I got the Sharpshooter for my second card. So you start from the bottom up. You start creating your hexagram from the bottom up when you're doing the ritual. But in this case, so we're gonna use the trigram from the first card as the bottom trigram, and the second trigram from this from the second card as your trigram up. So we have heaven, and we have, over here, and we have lake. No, that's not lake. That is thunder. That is thunder. So we have the top trigram over here, which is heaven. And then we have the second trigram that is over here in this column, and is thunder. So we got hexagram number, wait, no. I am doing this wrong, guys. 1 second. So the one in the lower. I'm sorry. So the lower trigram is over here. So it's heaven, and the upper trigrams, the second trigram is over here, and that is thunder. So we got hexagram number 34. Guys, I'm sorry, I haven't done this in a while, but as you guys can see, it's very easy with the cards instead of going through the whole ritual of the I Ching. Benebell actually created the Spirit Keeper's Tarot with hexagrams in mind so that we would be able to use the I Ching. Actually, there's a part in the Book of Maps that has a reduced version of the I Ching. But so then it's very easy because then we come over here and we say, okay, so our trigram is number 34. And so we go to the index, and here it is, hexagram 34. That is in page 566. And you know that it's only going to be here in this gray area. So 500, oh wow. And 66, that was pretty quick, guys. Okay, this book is pretty quick. So, yeah, here we go. So we have great power. And it's a good thing that we have that available to us so that I can actually show you how this works. Okay. So here we have the the first trigram from the first card and the second trigram from the second card on top. And this is the full hexagram, and this is the Chinese. This is ancient bone scripture, which I am sure that that's not a practice anymore. I could be wrong, guys, but there could be people out there who actually do read with I actually write bone script, ancient Chinese. Who knows? But this is the Chinese characters, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. I'm sure that I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but I know that this is the kanji for big or great, but in Japanese at least. But then we have the Chinese over here on top. On the bottom after the hexagram. And this is actually translated over here in the bottom after the oracle. The oracle is a sort of general interpretation for the hexagram. And when you get hexagram, you're supposed to read the oracle. And then you can read all of the line, or you can choose to read one of the lines. How I did it was by rolling a die. I have a die in my desk that I rolled so that I was able to get the line that I was supposed to read for that day. But I always read the oracle, and this is all of this. And then I threw the die, and I would read the lines. And as you guys can see, there are 6 lines per hexagram, and they're all meaningful, and they're all related to each other, but they're different. This is one of the very fascinating things about the I Ching, because the I Ching, in my experience when I used it, was even more general than a tarot reading. You can really get very specific with the I Ching. Now, when I was using the I Ching for my daily draws and for my journaling, I did it every 4 days. I consulted the I Ching. Oh, actually, I consulted the Spirit Keeper Tarot and the I Ching every 4 days, because I did started doing it daily, but it felt like the I Ching and the Spirit Keeper's Tarot wasn't really liking that, and it was more meaningful if I had an interval of days in between to interpret the hexagram and to read the line and to try to find meaning as to what that was when I was journaling. So that's what I did. Not to say that you can't consult the I Ching every day. I'm pretty sure that there are people that are probably Benebell is one of those people who consult the I Ching every day. But for me, it felt like I needed some time with the divination provided by the I Ching. Hopefully that helps, or hopefully that makes sense. But as in any case, there are instances like in this one where Benebell actually goes into some more history. As you guys can see here, we have the legend of Prince Hai related to the hexagram, and also she gives us some miscellaneous um, as well on the hexagrams. And I just thought that that was so fascinating that she decided to give us all of this info. Just but it's very fun when you read it. It's very fun because it's it's just like a bonus info blurb, and I really liked it. But the other thing that I was gonna say is that we have. So let's read the first line. We have the first line, and it's very, like I said, it's very general and it's very poetic. But the first line reads, "Power in the foot. To levy the troops now would be ominous. Have faith." You can either choose to interpret that on your own, right? Or Benebell also gives you an explanation as to what these lines mean and what they could have meant at that time and what they mean right now. So, she sometimes does that too, which I thought was incredibly helpful because with such an ancient book as this and with such old language and old culture, it definitely could be jarring to start interpreting words that or situations that may not be relevant today, right? So I thought that that was pretty amazing. She also sometimes gives us the meaning of the kanji over here. This is this. This is the original Chinese, and this is the translation. Um, I think she did an excellent job. Not that I know Chinese because I don't. But it has a rhythm to it. The translation has a rhythm to it. It has a purpose. It has a feeling to it that I really, really like. Now, this is done for every single one of the hexagrams, guys. All of them. In my experience, I would have to say that reading with the I Ching and experiencing the I Ching was, well, fascinating. Yes, definitely. But the I Ching seems to be very accurate. And I think that the reason why it is quite accurate is because it is so general. It's such a bird's eye view of your situation. And I think that when I took it as a bird's eye view, as a very general meaning, it was quite insightful and it was quite eye opening. It didn't necessarily wanted to future cast. I don't really do that, but when I was doing my daily draws, what I asked is what I asked was what does the I Ching want me to learn in these next 4 days, or what does the I Ching want me to know about these next 4 days, and it was pretty good. It was pretty accurate as to how I was feeling and what my current situation was at that point. I wrote a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. 2 paragraphs per journal session, which I rarely do. I usually do a paragraph, but this was like I didn't bring my journal so that I could show you. I had entrances in my journal or journaling sessions that were like half the page when I used the Spirit Keeper Star and the I Ching. So clearly it resonated with me, and clearly I will keep using it. I actually used the book and the Spirit Keeper Star for 2 seasons when I was using them. Well, I said that in the videos when I used them, but because it was making an impression in the good way, and I was very much enjoying working with the Oracle. Now, in the book as well, there the last part of the book after the I Ching is called Ancestral Veneration and the I Ching, which basically covers more ways to interpret the I Ching and more ways to use the I Ching. Benebell also goes into how shamans used the I Ching as well back in ancient China. So it's all very fascinating, and there's also quite the magical practice that is described here too. So all this to say that the I Ching can be used for anything that we want. Actually, we can use it like I did for daily draws or for a weekend. We can use the I Ching for annual readings, for monthly readings. It's you have the opportunity to use this book, and I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, to be perfectly honest with you guys, but I did. So hopefully my explanation and my review gets you guys to experience the I Ching, especially how Benebell did it, or how she does it, because it actually inspired me to create cards for each of the hexagrams, which is very hard. It's very difficult because one hexagram is not just one thing. It has many layers, like tarot cards do, right? I don't know how marketable an I Ching deck would be, or how successful I would be able to make it. But I definitely had some ideas. I wrote down some ideas for some of the hexagrams and how the cards would look like. It's not something that I'm pursuing right now. It just sparked that interest and that inspiration. But I think it was mostly to help me interpret the hexagram in the way that I saw it, or in the way that I'm going to see it. Let's see if I actually get to do it. I would be happy to do it. I'm not really sure if I would sell it, though. I would do it for myself, because again, it's just so difficult to because one line can talk about being a ominous reading, and the other line would be quite fortuitous, and it just depends, right? So it's really difficult to draw or make a piece of art with all of that in mind. So I think that well, like tarot, you're just gonna have to choose one thing and depict that. But as in any case, very much love the book. Benebell is a great writer. I really enjoy her writing style, very much, actually, very much so. And I hope that how I got the hexagrams actually helped, and I didn't confuse anybody. But I'm human, I make mistakes. But as in any case, guys, if you have the opportunity to work with the I Ching, I would definitely suggest that you do so. It is a very different divination system from the tarot, but you can definitely use it in conjunction with it, especially if you have the Spirit Keeper Sarah. It'll be a lot easier. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope that I get you to at least buy the book or give it a chance. Let me know in the comments below if you are, and or if you actually have worked with the I Ching. I'd love to know what you thought about it. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye bye. Am I recording? Am I recording? I hope I am. Okay. Where's my tea? Where's my tea? My tea, my tea. I'm so glad for the ancient Chinese people who discovered that we can do this. Well, it's such good tea, though. Very good tea. Very, very, very good tea.